went straight into this. Okay, I do have an intro. Let's see if I can figure out how to play it today.
Do it. Spicy astrology. You're here for this.
Yay!
We made it.
Astrology. It works. Okay, hi, we're live.
What's up, everybody?
Few technological glitches, but we're here and we've made it. And I've made an intro, but still need to figure out more about that. But we got one.
We made it. Well, everyone, this is Sydney. She is visiting us from Salt Lake. I'm Elle and Julie, as always. So we're very happy if you're here watching. We are so excited to go through all things Taurus and the second house. So, yeah.
Fun. Okay, what I was gonna pull this. I can actually do other things since I'm using a different computer today. And I was going to see what the astrology is in today, but it is hella Pisces energy.
Also, all of the planets align today. So if you are born around 5 a.m. this morning, don't ask me why I know this because I was up at 3 a.m. researching random things. If you were born at 5 a.m., like anywhere from 4 to like 7 a.m., like this tomorrow, you would literally have Pisces, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, I'm pretty sure, and along with other things. It's like the craziest stellium of all time. Every single planet like aligns, and it's all Pisces. And depending on what time you're born, it'll depend on the houses, but it's probably first, second, 12th, first. It's wild. So if you're having a baby soon, your baby is going to probably be a fortune teller. Especially with all that Pisces energy and intuition and just daydreamy energy and kindness and sweetness. They'll probably honestly change the world too. So the kids that are being born tomorrow are the children that are going to change the world. Miss Crystal. Yeah, yes.
Feels very inspirational. We can use all those good newses right now.
Yes. Also, you're a flight attendant. Why are planes crashing all the time? I need to know.
I wish I had like $1 for every time someone's asked me that this week.
I don't watch the news. I do not watch the news, and I literally swear every time I go onto some weird social just to like check something, I'm like, oh, another plane almost crashed. Like, what?
Yeah, it's actually scary, and like my coworkers are messaging me every day about it too. But what the consensus that I've come to come to terms with everything is that I think it's like the last of the fear mongering and harvesting of fear, because they're trying to control and they're trying to feed off all this energy, and they want us to feel like we can't leave and that we're stuck here, and they're just trying to like literally eat our fear. But also a bunch of irresponsible douchebags in the White House. So.
Yeah, that's what I was like. It's got to be politics because it's all of a sudden and it's like amplified, it seems like. But on top of that, it's like, I mean, I've checked all the transits and I don't see anything that's really indicating that like planes are crashing, but I'm just like, who is not doing their job, making sure that people are clearing runways and things.
All the people that were doing that job got fired.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, he like cleared out the FAA and the TSA. He cleared out all the people, and like people are scrambling, and they were already overworked. And those are positions you don't really get rid of. We can all say that, people who are checking the things. So that's kind of a problem. So, yeah, every day I go to work, me and my friends, we all say we're divinely protected and cover ourselves in violet light and wear my gold divine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she was flying here, and I was like, doing my little, she did it, but I was just like, and then my in-laws fly in tomorrow, and I'm just like, or on Saturday, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta send like all the good vibes because it's wild. I've never in my lifetime experienced something like this, so I just feel like it's been dramatic lately.
I've been flying for 17 years, and it's never. This is crazy.
It's the quantum leap of the Earth.
Yeah, it's like really bizarre. You have the pilots are like nervous. Like the energy is just different on the airplane. So be nice to your flight attendants and your crew because we're stressed too because we have to do this a lot. I fly 5-6 days a week, so that's a lot of chances, you know.
Yeah, you're increasing your chances, and the anxiety of just like being in the air now, I can imagine for everyone is a little on edge, including the fact that you have tons of passengers who are probably equally as nervous that have to fly. And so you're overly compensating for that on top of like your team being just, I don't know, that would be awful. So I'm sorry. I'll send all the good vibes your way. And hopefully there's like not another incident that I hear of. I just, all of a sudden, I'm just like, what?
It's crazy.
So,
yeah. So
but
scary.
that is not what this live is about. So
No.
into like more happy, positive astrology things. I just had to get that out there because I feel like it's just been lately and crazy a lot. So well, as you all know, tonight is all things Taurus. So I love Taurus. It is the fixed, earthy, consistent, persistent, sensual sign of the zodiac. If you have a Taurus sun or any Taurus placements in your chart, if you want to like get that out and take the time and evaluate where that is and what that is, whether it's your sun, your moon, or if you have it in the first house, second house, I'll try to throw some indicators of different aspects that kind of align with Taurus energies. So we're just going to kind of go through that. Ironically, though, we all three have Taurus fathers. So I think that's pretty interesting. Julie has a Taurus father, which I feel like yours is probably the most Taurus energy, considering that he's still married to your mother. Ours kind of
a little free floating.
Yes. So my Taurus sun father has a Sagittarius moon, and the man has never been married. I didn't speak to him for like 6 years. I finally got a hold of him, and instead of being like, "Oh, I'm so glad you finally got a hold of me," he was like, "Hey, can I call you back? I'm hanging out with this lady, my lady friend." I'm like, "Sir, no, you may not." But we have a really good relationship. He's honestly one of the coolest people I've ever met. I didn't meet him until I was like 24, but he's just got like dope energy. He's just a free spirit, and that's just who he is. And I've learned to just like accept that about him. So yours is a little more structured, but he's still kind of like bachelor for life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Them Tauruses.
But my dad's kind of like a free spirit, but he's like religious, so there's structure. But like I was raised in a van and like homeschooled in a van, so
I love that.
That is awesome. I always forget about that. But that is like, that to me, in my experience and what my journey has been learning astrology, Taurus, all of that is not so much Taurus energy. So it would be really interesting to see all of our dad's charts, which would make sense that we're all three here and that we're all three friends, because, you know, if we had a very strict conservative, what the typical Taurus stereotype father would be, we probably wouldn't be studying astrology. We'd be doing something in law school or something, you know, more Taurus-like. So, but yeah, so Taurus energy, typically very consistent, very loyal. It makes sense for Taurus people, a lot of Taurus placements who want to be in committed relationships. They're very committed. They're very loyal. So we just happen to all three have fathers that are not the norm for Taurus.
Brought us here today.
Yeah. Yes. We vibe off of having similar Taurus parenting experiences.
Which is funny. So I vibe the best with female Tauruses.
Oh, I love
female Tauruses. There's some like sort of conflict if they think that they're better and smarter than me, and I think that comes back to my dad. So like I can't stand it. Like I cannot date a Taurus man. Just can't.
Really?
I'm Capricorn. I know best.
You're like, I know the rights. Well, have you dated a Taurus guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the, like, what was his moon and his rising? Do you know?
That I have to look up. Probably the second guy I ever dated after my ex-husband was a Taurus, and just like the ego, there's so much ego in a Taurus man to me.
Yeah.
No.
And unevolved.
Yeah.
An unevolved Taurus. Yes, there can be.
Yeah.
a sense of like higher self. Like they're kind of better than everyone. They do feel that way.
Yeah.
They
It's
do.
like a very weird thing. And I'm like, okay, first of all, until you figure out that I'm better than you, this will never work.
This is, I am clearly
I'm in charge here.
I love that.
Wow.
Well, yeah. So I feel like Taurus women and Taurus men definitely have different energies. So, well, I shouldn't say men and women. Taurus feminine and Taurus masculine, very different energies. Like the Taurus women that I know are very, they take charge. They are like the managers of the family. Anytime I see like a woman who's a Taurus, I'm like, oh, you must manage your family. And 9 times out of 10, they do, because they just have their shit together. Not that Taurus masculine energy doesn't, it just looks different. It's like they're not as bold and they're not as strong as a Taurus feminine energy. Now, whether you carry feminine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, I mean, that can look different, right? If you're a woman and you hold more of a masculine Taurus energy, then you're definitely not probably those qualities. But I feel like most Taurus women have those qualities. My daughter is a Taurus and she definitely holds those. Kylie.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's very like,
No way.
she's the family manager. Like she's got everybody on their toes. She's like, you know, she's just has it together and she's 18. So I'm going to go right into like the planets. So if you are a Taurus sun, these people, the biggest thing for them is like consistency. A Taurus loves consistency. They love feeling the sensual side of things. Like they're very sensual. Anything that has to do with planning and just this structure of a daily routine, that's something that's very important to them. So if you have a Taurus sun in your life that you know, deal with every day, you know this. Like they show up on time, they're consistent with their work, and they leave on time, and they leave these people like to leave their work at work. They don't bring it home. They're just like done. They check out at the end of the day. That's very Taurus energy. Family wise, a Taurus sun is very loving, compassionate. They a lot of times like material things. And so this brings a sort of superior energy to them because they like to have nice things. It's not just like they want things. They want nice things. They want a nice house. They're ruled by Venus. And so, you know, Libras and Tauruses, they just like to have fancier, bougier things. I'm a Libra. I'm not that way, but
No,
and I have a Taurus moon, so I can explain that too because I'm Sagittarius dominant. But most of the time, Tauruses, they really love luxurious lives, and they love to be fancy, and they love to be bougie, and they love to feel like they have their shit together. It's just what makes them feel good. So.
My moon is in the second house, so I kind of like Libra moon, but in the second house. So I kind of feel like I have that like Taurus energy in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, anytime your moon is in the second house of possessions, it's what makes you feel emotionally safe. And especially being in Libra, you know, Libra is a cardinal sign and it can be a little more flowy. It's air energy. But when you have it in the second house, sometimes possessions or having things just give you this comfort of knowing that you're safe. Mm-hmm. So I have a Taurus moon, but it's in the 5th house. It's in a very fun house. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit because we all know I got a bang of kids. And that is everything Taurus moon, 5th house energy. So
yeah,
but
makes a lot of sense.
It does. It really does. If you look at the 5th house, which is like the house of children and just creativity and all things. I mean, it can be a number of things: creativity, children, the lust, the beginning of relationships. It's kind of that thing, but that's a whole nother segment. We'll go into the 5th house, but it does indicate Taurus moons in the 5th house is an indication that you have children, multiple children. The degree also matters. So yeah. So Taurus suns, that's an overall for that. If you look at your birth chart and you find yourself with a Taurus moon, it's still kind of the same energy, but it's not so much who you are, it's how you feel. Myself being a fellow Taurus moon, I love the snacks. I love when people show up with the snacks. I love a good Cancer friend that brings the snacks to the picnic. Always
She
a
does.
fave. I do. I do. And I've also never been married or with someone who doesn't know how to cook.
That's also true.
I've never have I ever. Like, if you can't cook, I think that's kind of a deal breaker for me. I don't like to cook. I don't want to cook. It's just not it. So we are very sensual people. The good thing, one of my favorite things about having a Taurus moon is that I'm very consistent with my emotions. It's not, I would say anyone who knows me, they never have to guess where I stand emotionally. I'm very grounded. Taurus is an earth sign. My emotions are just grounded. Now, if you are a Taurus moon and you're like, damn, I don't feel that way at all, there's probably some things in your chart that are, some aspects that may not be to your best benefit having a Taurus moon, because typically someone with a Taurus or a Cancer moon, those are two moon signs that really are grounded and just have comfortable with their emotions and their feelings. So if you don't feel that, we should definitely look at your chart and see why you don't feel that way. But 9 times out of 10, a Taurus moon, very chill, very grounded, which I appreciate. My moon is one of my favorite signs in my chart, because I just feel like it really does me a lot of good, because I can't imagine if I was like, I just wouldn't be me without that.
Sag moon, maybe.
It would be different for sure. Not as grounded. I'd probably live in a van with all my Libra and Sagittarius in there.
Yeah.
But it just gives me like a more practical approach to life. And it's what makes me, how I was kind of saying, how yours in the second house brings like this like comfort in material things. And it doesn't have to be, which 9 times out of 10 it is nice things, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes the comfort of just having like a nice cozy home is important. It doesn't have to be, $1 million home that you're comfortable in. It can be something very small and quaint. That's actually something that's very practical for Taurus, because Taurus is very practical, and they do love the idea of like, unless they're just billionaires, 9 times out of 10, they're not these people that are going to be like house poor. They're not going to invest more than what they can pay. They're very, earth signs in general are like that, but Taurus especially aligns with that. They don't want to spend every single penny that they have, on anything. But I guess if they were going to, it would be a comfortable house and snacks.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
A house you want to hang out in for sure.
Yes, be cozy, cuddled up, I definitely feel that. My house is like my sanctuary, and it makes me feel, I don't know, I feel always at peace, and I can be the most calm, and I don't have a lot of placements that would really indicate that. So that's how I know, like, my Taurus moon is very prominent in my chart, and it really shines, especially when I'm at home. So, and how I nurture and mother, it's very Taurus energy. I'm like strict, and I have this way about me, but I'm also practical and teach my kids. And there's this very earthy energy to my emotional stance and being. So if you're Taurus moon, all of that should resonate. If not, let me look at your chart and let's see what's going on there, why it's not. So, and there's ways to kind of elevate that too. Like if you have things in your chart that, a lot of times if you have a lot of Scorpio in there, which in our generation, all of our Plutos are Scorpio, not all of them, but a majority of them. And if your Saturn is in Scorpio and you have Taurus moon, sometimes that can be very challenging. I actually do have that, but there's ways that you navigate through it. So, ooh, Taurus rising. We're going to get to the Taurus rising. You're probably pretty bossy,
Sydney. I love your name, Sydney.
She is bossy. Oh, Maddie. She's bossy too, to be honest. Her daughter. I was like, let me think. Oh yeah, she's definitely bossy, but she's got Virgo energy, so she's Virgo. But Virgo sun, Taurus rising, bossy. But that's good. Those are things that are great to have because, you're going to be organized. You're just going to have your shit together. And I know her personally, and I definitely know she's going to have her shit together as she gets older. So. But I'll go into Taurus rising. So I'm gonna try to stay in my order. So we've got Taurus Sun, Taurus Moon, Taurus Mercury. So your Mercury is how you communicate, it's how you think, and Tauruses are not the most quick to think. So they take their time, they evaluate, they're a little slower paced. It wouldn't be like having a Gemini Mercury. But with this comes a slower, calmer demeanor. And if you think about people that just make decisions very quickly, sometimes that works out for them, but a lot of times it probably doesn't. And so this is more of someone who takes their time, makes decisions based on all of the aspects of whatever the decision is that they're making. But this person really has a gift of taking their time and being patient and looking at the most practical approach, because again, Taurus is an earth sign and there is a lot of practical practice in having that in a Mercury. So if you have a Taurus Mercury, the way you think, the way you speak, the way that you communicate is probably well thought out, a little slower paced, and probably a lot of care behind it, because there is this way about Taurus that is, again, sensual and caring. So not the best place for your Mercury, not the best sign to have Mercury in if you are doing like communications or something that's like really fast. But if you're like counseling or something slower paced, that would be really beneficial to have, because you really think about your responses, and the way that you think is very practical. So that is Taurus Mercury in a nutshell. Do you know anyone with a Taurus Mercury? Like off the top of your head?
Yeah, not off the top of my head, no. Almost everyone I know is an air sign Mercury, because all my friends are so chatty.
Oh, I know. You're like, that's who I attract.
Yeah. Quick, fast pace.
I don't know. I might know one girl. I would have to look at her chart. She possibly has one, but I actually haven't interacted with her a lot. I would like to say my daughter, because my daughter is a Taurus, I would like to think her Mercury's in Taurus, but it's actually an Aries.
Wow.
Which is fiery.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm familiar with Mercury and Aries.
Yes. It's very direct, to say the least. There's not a lot of tact there.
No.
I'm sometimes like, you need to really think about what you say before it comes out of your mouth sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I say that a lot, actually.
Well, she's your daughter too. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't really think I know any. I was going to use an example, but I should pull some celebrities up that I feel like a lot of people would know, and that would give some really good, like, oh, I see. But anyways, moving along, if you have Taurus and Venus, this is like the best place to have Taurus, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. It's exalted here. It is like amplified. So you not only enjoy sensual things, like sex is a big thing here. It's all about like pleasure, not so much just like the promiscuous part of it or anything like that. It's all about the experience, the desire, the pleasure. Like, it is a very sexual placement to have your Venus in, having Taurus. But I mean, obviously, like, if you were, I don't want to say this and somebody have this with like their partner, because like, again, this can indicate like many different things. But if you had maybe an Aquarius Venus and your partner had a Taurus Venus, it could be a little like boring in the sense, but also, I don't want to say boring. It could be, but it could just be that their experience with like sexual encounters is more sensual, where Aquarius would be more like excited, or you laugh. Did you know someone? Is this something did I say like someone's chart?
I can't say.
Okay. I'm just saying there are other things in the chart that can change this, but a lot of times it could be that the Taurus Venus is just sensual and really takes in the vibration of like love and like all aspects of it. Whereas someone with an Aquarius Venus, it's more like trying new things. And a Taurus Venus energy typically is not about that. It's traditional. It is very how we've done things for 1,000 years. And Aquarius Venus energy is just very different than that. Again, if you take an Aquarius Venus with a bunch of Earth Taurus placements in their chart, this is not the case. But It can be the case.
Very traditional.
I mean, Taurus Venuses are, and there's a jealousy too with Taurus Venuses.
No.
Yeah. So my husband, I'm a Virgo Venus, and my husband is a Taurus Venus, and there is a very, and we're both Gemini and Libra, so we're like two airy free souls, wandering around the world. But there is something that in how we are in relationships that's very traditional. We have a very traditional way about us. So anytime I see a Taurus Venus, I just think of this person as being a very traditional person in relationship, depending on other aspects, of course. But typically, a Taurus Venus is going to want a traditional marriage, kids, consistency, that sort of like every day we do kind of the, same things. There's just that kind of energy there with the Taurus Venus.
Mm.
Who do we know that's Taurus Venus? I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm like kind of going through charts, but I'm looking at like the last two people I slept with. Both
Like,
Aquarius.
are you an Aquarius Venus?
I am no, damn it, I just looked at what it was. The last two people I was in a relationship and in a relationship with are Aquarius Venuses. My Venus is in Capricorn.
Okay.
To the 29th degree.
Oh, you're a well-evolved Capricorn Venus.
She a freak.
I was gonna say that's there's nothing wrong with that. And Aquarius can be, I mean, again, it like depends on a lot of things in their chart. Like, I mean, you think about if you have your moon, how you handle things emotionally with a hard aspect, a square to your Venus, it kind of like really messes up your mojo. Like it doesn't flow. Like I just think of people that I'm like, man, you've got a lot of really harsh aspects with your Venus. It's like maybe in this life, like sex is not supposed to be important for you. Maybe not. I don't know. It's a thing. It's a real thing.
That's sad.
Sad, but true.
I think sex is like 90% of my problems.
Oh, I know. We need to evaluate. Well, now you're in a good spot. We should evaluate before anyone dates anyone.
Watch the first 50 episodes of the live stream of Astrology and go through it.
Right. Hey, as long as you figure it out, that's all that matters.
The hiring process, that's crazy.
You guys, no. We're going to need you to answer a list of questions. It starts with your birth time and location. Nothing weird, nothing witchy. We're just curious.
No.
Yeah. And are you cool about donating blood for ceremonies or?
Yes.
Is that too much?
Wow. I joined the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you.
She thinks we're going to get tattoos. Low key, we're going to donate blood.
Wow. All of it.
She's like, I'm kind of scared.
Where is your Taurus at? Tell me.
I love it. Okay, so Taurus Mars. So your Mars in your chart obviously indicates how you take action and how you handle situations. And Taurus, again, we're kind of like that Mercury energy is kind of slower pace, not going to jump to conclusions. They're going to want to see all of the variables before they make a decision. They're going to take the most practical approach. They're going to, if it can save money here, they're definitely going to take that avenue because they also can be a little tight with money. They don't like to spend. They don't like to overspend. They're practical and consistent, and that sticks very true to like how they make decisions and how they move forward with things. And Mars energy with Taurus is just, I gotta think of the best way to describe that. They just are so practical in their approach that it can be annoying.
Oh.
Like, okay, let's just make a decision. Like it seems like they can take forever to decide. And it's really because they're going through like this list of practical approaches to the situation, whatever that may be. I mean, it can be how you handle when your kid falls on the playground to how you manage, whatever the job it is that you're doing. Maybe you're doing a big construction job, and how you manage that and handle that is very like you're nitpicking everything and you're looking for every practical approach, that sometimes thinking outside of the box can get you further and push a project. Or like, I'm using very different examples. Like in a construction thing, that could be very beneficial. If your child falls on the playground, maybe just show a little empathy, like, oh, you're okay, versus like, you didn't die, like,
Definitely like my father.
yeah, you didn't die.
You get hurt. Why? Why'd you do that? Okay, I'm glad you're okay.
But there's no like real empathy for it. It's like, you're fine. It's a long ways from your heart. It's your toe.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. So that is kind of Taurus energy in the Mars, in your Mars. So if you have Taurus there, and again, this all depends in like what house it's in and how it really shows up and plays. I'm just giving you general examples of what that energy looks like. So we're in Mars. Let's do Jupiter, Taurus and Jupiter. This can be very fortunate. Typically, Jupiter is the planet of luck and abundance, and Taurus is of things material. So you may accumulate a lot of things materialistic, like you may, be in a really good spot to inherit money or property. It's just one of those placements that you kind of benefit financial gain in some form, some way or another, whether it's property or actual like money that's actually something that you gain. But it's just a lucky placement. Tyson, you hear my dog?
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. So I was like, poltergeist.
I know,
Poltergeist.
it's just coming through the floor. No big deal over here.
Yes.
Oh my
She's
God.
being haunted by a
I did have a
Taurus
dream. I
Mars.
did have a dream about a demon the other night. That did happen. So
it was
Do you know his
Taurus.
name?
Taurus demon.
no, I don't. So I was having a dream about it, and then I woke up and I couldn't move. So I know that it was like physically here. I know it was physically here. I did sage my whole house. She's like, maybe I don't stay here.
I'm not scared.
Don't say that.
Yeah. No. The house has been saged and prayed for. So we're chilling. But yeah, that happened. Side note.
Feels great in here.
The energy is good. Since I've cleansed the whole house. This was a couple days ago. But anyway, so Taurus, in your outer planet. So now we're in Jupiter. We'll do Neptune. Again, anytime Neptune, let me think here for a second how I'm going to word this. Neptune, anytime that you have Taurus and Neptune, it is one of those placements that any Earth sign in Neptune, it's one of the placements that you aren't easily deceived. There's a kind of no bullshit meter that you have. It's not like having a Neptune in Libra or Pisces. Pisces is a big one that it kind of the illusion of people. You tend to want to see the best in people. There's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of times people without a Taurus Neptune can be deceived easily and find themselves in a lot of situations where they're like, I shouldn't have trusted that person. That's not really the case for someone with a Neptune and Taurus. They can kind of point out like, oh, you're BSing me and I know this. So, you know those people that are like, nothing gets by them. And then those people are like, how do you get fooled so many times? Like, you got to look at what kind of aspects they have going on with their Neptune, because 9 times out of 10, it's not working with a lot of their chart. Saturn, Taurus, Saturn is a daddy planet. It teaches us. Yeah, I know you like that.
I love daddies.
It's the planet that teaches us like the lessons in life. And so when you think about it, Taurus being of material things, a lot of times this can indicate that you maybe have to go through the loss of things. A lot of times losing mostly material things, not like a person. It could be, but a lot of times it's more material things. Like I think of Schitt's Creek, like how they had everything, and they're living their best life, and then it's like stripped from them, right? I always think David is a Taurus.
Oh,
He's
for sure.
Taurus, he's like queen, and I love him. But
Yes.
he's the most Taurus energy for a guy, for masculine, feminine energy. It's like
And
a
also
mix.
the ego in that one, right? I'm on brand for the Taurus males.
Yes. And I think what's her name? Stevie?
Yes.
Yeah. Capricorn. She's 100% a Capricorn. She is she's the epitome of a Capricorn.
Oh, for
I think
sure.
we should do like a whole like show, like signs and everything. Oh, hi.
Hi,
He's so cute.
Oh, this is great.
But so yeah, it's that kind of energy. So if you
He's
have
a Taurus.
He hates
loves
you.
you.
No.
He's like gives you a kiss, but he's like, let me down. They're also shy. Tauruses can be shy, and they also don't typically love fame. So I'm not that this astrology is fame, but for a cat, it could be.
With all 5 viewers.
I think for people. High five, viewers.
I'm here for it.
So famous. Thanks, Phil.
Yes,
Thanks,
you're
you
welcome.
guys.
You're welcome. So yeah, if you have Saturn in Taurus, you might find things like that happening, or it could be the opposite way. You could grow up with like nothing, and then if you think about it, and completely go into like riches, like all of a sudden you're a millionaire. How do you think someone that came from nothing is going to handle all those finances? Probably not very well. Probably going to just spend it. There's probably not a lot of like how to handle, it really can go either way. Like when people are like, oh, it's got to be loss. You could gain a lot of money and not know how to manage it and lose it all and learn a lot, or go through the struggle of trying to figure out how to manage it. I mean, and I hope for everyone that is the case. Oh yeah, Taurus is. Oh yeah, they can be very vindictive. Taurus can
I'm
have.
not even you, and I know.
She's like, yes.
Yes.
They can be. I would say that's very unevolved energy. So anything negative on any sign that I say, it's definitely unevolved, because each sign has positive and negative traits, and whether you see more negative traits in a person, they're probably just really unevolved. And I use Leo a lot because it's an easy target. They're ruled by the sun. They shine very bright. You can have a Leo that's like very charismatic and like caring and loving, and get in front of a crowd of people, and you're just like, wow, this person really has it. And then you can see a Leo uninvolved being like, oh yeah, like egotistical and just gross, and you're like, ew. So it's just really everything that I say positive about a sign is an evolved trait, and anything I say negative about a sign, it's unevolved. And that's really all it is. So if you're like, I resonate with this in a negative or positive way, it just means you're probably more evolved or not. And that's, that's true. You got to work on it.
I'm not even the master, and I know that's true.
She's working on her Sagittarius energy every day.
Nope, I'm not. I've been forced here.
Yeah. I was like, you're coming to the live. You're going to be in town. We're going live. And she's like, no. I was like, yeah, you'll be there.
I only know one Taurus. So listen to her.
You have a lifetime of expertise with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
as far as farther, we all do, like she said.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't meet mine until I was 24, but that just says how free he was.
That passed down of a Taurus father.
Yes. It lives within me, for sure. My free-spirited ways did not come from my Scorpio mother. I'll tell you that.
Asshole ways didn't come from a Cancer mother. Well, maybe they did.
What is your mom, Julie?
An Aries.
Oh,
your asshole mother.
Your mom is the biggest asshole.
Yeah, I was like, I got it from both sides.
I don't know. My mom is a Scorpio sun, Gemini moon. She's terrifying.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Unhinged.
Are we comparing? Is that
no, we shouldn't compare.
We're talking about our daddies right now.
We're scary, but
I should have just named this episode Daddy Issues.
Hey, if you guys want to do another video before I leave, we'll do mommy issues. I got you.
I think we could all three go on for days for that a little bit. I love it. Okay, back to Taurus. Okay, so if you have, I don't know anyone in this that would be alive that would have a Taurus Pluto, because that would be like 100 and 1800s. So if you're watching and you have a Taurus Pluto, please.
Is that so?
Direct message me and we'll go through that. But I don't. I mean, that's just
a baby. Is that like the year that it would have to be?
Well, it's generational. So it's really a span, I think, of like 30 years. And so she's Libra, we're Scorpio. So to be a Taurus, it would almost have to be like 1800. I mean, I don't know exactly. Like, don't have me mathing. I've had
You probably don't know how to use the internet.
Yeah.
I can figure it out.
No. Wow.
I
don't think they would be able to.
I just don't think there's going to be anyone. But what it means, if you run across someone with a Taurus Pluto, it's going to mean that generation went through, let's just use like the Spanish influenza. That's probably the closest thing to a Taurus. They all went through that together. They all went through sickness. And that really indicates, I mean, not that that has anything to do with Taurus. I'm just using a generational thing. We all went through COVID, we experienced that together. And it depends on like kind of your age. If you think of like a Libra or Scorpio, or even like my children are Sagittarius, Plutos, they went through COVID. My kids went through COVID at a very crucial time, like 7th grade, 8th grade, where they were in school and they missed school for a year, and like how challenging that was. I went through it as an adult. Like, you think of the generations, that's how that's affected, and that's how that really works. So Taurus, Pluto, they went through something major, I'm sure. World War, way before that, but they went through something, and I'd have to really research and look more into that. But it's basically just the time that they went through it, and just that generational experience as a whole. Yeah.
News to me.
Surprise. You are a Scorpio, and so we went through like 9/11. You were probably at home.
I was a baby.
Yeah, you were at home.
I was a baby.
We are having so much fun.
A little bit.
Teeny smidge.
9/11 is the year I moved back to the United States, and my parents dropped me off here, and I was like,
what?
This is a very dangerous country.
Why didn't I get updated on this before this video?
Where did you live at?
I lived in Chile.
Yeah.
I should have stayed there.
I know. I tried. My parents were like, no, you're going back to America. And then I was like, are you guys sure?
Can I leave
You
now?
knew. You were clairvoyant. Dang.
I've always been clairvoyant. Yeah.
Wow.
I love that. But we were pretty young. Like, we were adult. Like, I was in middle school.
Oh, dang.
I remember.
I was 18.
Oh.
I was 6.
Wow, I feel old.
Oh.
She's
a baby. She's a baby.
Where's my Taurus?
Your Taurus. I don't know that you have Taurus on your chart, but you do
Not
have
an
second house.
1800.
She has a second house placement. So I am going to kind of move into the second house because I've spent a lot of time on planets. So I did make some notes here for our second house. So the second house, again, Taurus energy, it's ruled by Venus. It's Taurus is a sign that rules the second house. It's possessions. It is material items. It is how you value yourself as well. So what your value that you feel, your worth. Let me look at my notes to go through here, because I did do them on each planet as well. So the second house, when you have a really good placement or an aspect that really, like a trine that really indicates other positive things, like if you have Jupiter in the second house and it's trining, different planets in your chart, it can indicate like wealth. You receive wealth, you work, you get these really good promotions, and that you're, I don't want to say career, because the career is more like 10th house. It really is just that possessions and wealth really come to you, but it's your own wealth. It's not other people's wealth. It's things that you gain and that you work for. So anytime that you see that you have your sun in your second house, it's an indication that it builds your self-esteem. Because again, it goes back to it does shine on like the value of yourself. So if you have your sun in the second house, this is someone that really has high self-esteem, depending on if there are good aspects, bad aspects. It could be that you have really low self-esteem, but 9 times out of 10, the self-esteem in the second house will be like a good indicator that you have good self-esteem or high self-esteem. the moon in the second house, it is a financial security for a lot of people. So if you find that your moon is in the second house, you may marry someone in wealth. You may really look for throughout your life people that can provide. It's a placement for somebody that feels very comfortable with someone who can provide for them, and they almost need that to feel comfort and at ease. So didn't you say your moon second house?
Yeah.
You need a sugar daddy.
What am I?
I
need
a few sugar daddies.
I need a few of them. I know I don't have
we all need a sugar daddy.
I don't have your chart in front of me, but I don't know where you're.
Get a sugar daddy, girl.
You should.
I'm working on it.
Everyone's, not even just girls.
Yeah. I literally send my partner off to work and I'm like, get a sugar mama tonight.
One that's really, really rich.
Yeah.
Bring that money. I love it. Yeah, that is very moon. That is your moon in the second house. Mercury in the third house. Very practical. Again, Mercury rules the mind, how you think, how you operate, like how you speak. This person is very a logical approach in situations. So I've kind of said this before with the whole, when I went on the limb of the contract working, different, getting caught up in tunnel vision. It's one of those aspects that you can't think outside of the box because they're just very practical. And the second house is a practical energy as well. So if you find yourself with a Mercury in the second house, I would advise you to really create this, practice. It's a practice. We can all expand our minds, right? We can expand them a little bit. If you have a way of a tunnel vision and you think things have to be this way, just practice ideas of thinking outside of that tunnel or outside of the box. That would be a really good, tidbit to give to someone that has Mercury in the second house, because it can be very, this is the plan, this makes practical sense, and we're going to stick to this. They don't like change, they're fixed. So switching and changing is really difficult for individuals with a Mercury. And changing the way that they think is very difficult for someone with a Mercury in the second house. Venus, this really embellishes someone's taste. If you have your Venus in the second house, you like expensive things, you like nice things, you want to impress people, you want to show off, you want to look like you are in the most in love relationship that is ever possible to mankind, because it's extra Taurus energy here, right? It's impressing, it's materialistic things, it's the fancy cars and the nice house and the best clothes, and you show up that way if you have Venus in your second house, because it just feels natural, and that's where Venus lives and is happy. It's the ruler of the second house. So, maybe not so much in your chart, but in typical, what the second house rules, Venus rules the second house. So if you have, let's give Julie's chart. She is a Leo rising. So wow. Virgo rules your second house. Wow, that may not be a good example actually, because Virgo is not super fancy like Taurus, but they like to look perfect. Mm-hmm. So let's use
let's not use today as an example.
Who doesn't though?
Yeah,
let's not
let's say Pisces is your first house ruler, and Aries is your second house ruler, and Aries energy is more sporty and not as, they kind of show off too sometimes, but not as much. What Capricorn ruling your second house? Capricorns really don't give a fuck. They want to make money. They don't even want to look like they have money. They want to drive a 1979 Jetta that, sexy. And they don't care what people think of them. So this is kind of the perfect one to use. So when you have your Venus and Capricorn in the second house, there might be some pull there. There might be this kind of I want to be discreet about my Capricorn is so my second house is ruled by Capricorn. I'm I should use myself as an example. Sorry. I'm losing it clearly. So I'm
Skip.
one of those people. Here's the thing. This is the best example I can give. I love expensive shit,
Same.
but I do not want to look expensive.
Not same.
Not John Anticio is my favorite jewelry designer of all time. It is so discreet. You would never know the price of the jewelry that I have on. You would never be like, oh, that's really expensive. It's so discreet. Fossil is one of my favorite brands. You'll never know that I'm wearing it because they don't say fossil, 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 like all over it, like Louis Vuitton. Like, you know, when someone's carrying a Louis Vuitton purse, you're like, that bitch has a Louis Vuitton. Might be fake, might be real, we don't know. But like Fossil is not like that. It's very discreet. It's very expensive. It's good quality, but you don't know that. So that is a perfect example of somebody with a Venus, that ruler of the second house, that's not as flashy as Taurus. But if you have a Taurus Venus in the second house, I can only imagine the flashiness that you want to show. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not judging that. Me personally, I want expensive things and I just don't want it to look expensive. I want it to look really poor, cheap. Like, I have dreadlocks.
She doesn't want people to know how successful she is.
No, I'm like, oh yeah, I drive a 2006 Suburban.
It's super sexy though.
No.
Super.
My kid drives a brand new Jetta, but that's not the point. I want to look
not
very,
because it's a kid.
I want to look very, whatever. And that's Capricorn energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving along to Mars. Anytime that you have Mars in the second house, this is a hard working placement. If you find yourself having Mars, you're dedicated to working hard, you're self-reliant. You're just probably really good at making money. This is such a good energy for like making money. Your Mars in the second house, good for you. I hope that resonates, because that is a very hardworking individual. When I see Mars in the second house, I'm like, you work hard for your money. I get it. I know that. So
I don't want to like dig in on that, but why is that?
Because Mars is like how you take action, and it's how you create things. And when you have your Mars in a house of like possessions and material things, it just makes you work so much harder, because that's kind of the theme. So the house is the theme of your life. And when you have something that's like your drive in this area that wants to be better and wants to, appear, and not just appear, but they work really hard, and it's just how they take action. Material items, possessions, things like that, encourage them, inspire them to work harder. So, yeah, that was a good question.
No,
that's good. I mean, I'm sure there's so many times people are like, but why is that? So this is great, because I will just ramble.
I'm a baby.
She's learning astrology. This is new for her. So,
like I said, I've been forced by Julie and Elle. Damn.
We forced her here today. If you have Jupiter in the second house, so this was kind of like when I was going over like Taurus, Jupiter, Taurus. It just brings you luck. You have this luck with like financial abilities. You attract income, you attract material things. It's like you meet people that are like, oh, this was just given to me and I just fell into this, and they're billionaires, and you're just like, I wish I would just fall into being a billionaire. That'd be cool. But I don't have a Taurus Jupiter, and I don't have Jupiter in my second house. So yeah, I actually do have Jupiter in my second house, but it squares a lot of things. I have a Jupiter Taurus and Aquarius, or a Jupiter Aquarius in my second house, but it squares my Taurus moon. So there's this emotional moon conflict with my destiny to be rich struggle. It just doesn't work out. And I know that, and I'm aware of that.
Can I ask what a square means?
A square is when you have you have your whole chart, and anytime you have two signs that are 90 degrees within each other, they square each other. So if you think of it like you're Sagittarius, and if you have Pisces, or if you have Virgo in your chart, you're going to square those signs because they're 90 degrees away from your Sagittarius.
Okay.
So, and yeah, it can, yeah, it indicates like conflict. It can be challenges, I like to look at it as I wasn't meant to be rich young. And so I have to work through all those challenges to figure out how to be rich when I'm old. And the fact, and I'll go into this because I did mention my ruler of the second house is Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn, my second house is ruled by Saturn. My riches won't come until later in life anyways, which I've always known that. I mean, I think 40s later in life. So if you would just like to make this happen now, that would be great. All right.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, that's great. Those are great questions because they're probably questions that our listeners have that we just don't really touch on. So we should have more guests come and ask questions. Yeah.
Not me though.
No, you're great. You're doing great. So Saturn in your second house, again, it kind of plays that same card when I was saying that Saturn and Taurus can be an indication of learning life through or learning your lessons, because Saturn is, again, the daddy planet that teaches us all the things. And when you have it in the second house, a lot of times it's that Schitt's Creek energy. You have everything and you lose it. So you may have things in your chart that really protect you from instances like that. And maybe that's not where you learn. Maybe there could be indications of like self-worth and things like that, which not that that's any better than losing all your material things, because having low self-worth would to me be way worse than losing all your material things, but it can indicate either of those things depending on other things in your chart. Uranus, I didn't go into Taurus Uranus, but there's not a lot to really go into there. So, but I can go into, if you have Uranus in the second house, this person really, there's more interest in freedom than money in this placement. You're more interested in having your freedom than you are possessions. A lot of times people with Uranus in the second house can feel tied down, and that money really restricts them from living their true authentic life, versus like this person feeling like they need to have material status. This is not a person of material status. This is a person that actually rebels against everything material status. So a lot of times when I see Uranus, especially if I see like an Aquarius Uranus in the second house, I'm like, oh, you probably hate having things. You probably are a minimalist and you probably live very simple life. And I admire that so much. So that's that kind of energy. And then Neptune, these people, and when you have Neptune in the second house, you can be a very generous person, which is great. It's very nice. But don't be too generous. I mean, there's a lot of things that can work in your chart against you to where you give too much. You meet people that just like give and give to where they have nothing. I always admire someone who doesn't have anything and they're still willing to like give like the shirt off their back. I think those people are just amazing. But this could be that kind of position. Like you can be homeless and give your shirt off your back to someone who there can be an illusion of like constantly giving to where maybe at some point you might need to take, or maybe you should, not give away everything. It's that kind of energy. Very naive, very kind, but not always in the best interest of the person. And then if you have Pluto in your second house, this can be, a lot of times it's limitation in your own values. A lot of times it's not allowing yourself to either accept abundance or you're greedy with abundance. It really could indicate either or. So, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I had for the Taurus in second house.
And literally right on time.
I sped through it. We lagged for a minute, but we made it.
Yeah. Somehow it always comes back.
It comes back. We get there. So if you have a ton of Taurus in your chart, or if you have a lot of second house placements, I mean, really look at what connections in your chart that they make with other planets. But a lot of times it indicates where you're going to find wealth, where you're going to find material status, your own resources, your self-worth. I mean, you can really find a lot of things. Take the sign that's in there, take that energy, plus the house ruler, the planet that is on I always call it the piece of the pie that starts that piece of the pie. Take that planet, follow that planet to where it is in your chart. Mine being Capricorn, you would look for, or I would look for, like, where's Saturn in my chart? And then I would go to Saturn and kind of pull those two together and see how that implies. Like I said, I know that my riches don't come until later in life because Saturn is like the slowest moving, well, it's not the slowest, but it's a slower moving planet. And I know that I'm not, my wealth, I knew I wasn't going to be wealthy in my earlier years. I didn't know this until later on, but it does indicate that, like, I don't become rich when I'm 20. And so, yeah. All about money, all about possessions, self-value. That's what today was.
Beautiful.
A little bit of daddy issues.
You know, that always comes back to self-worth too.
I mean, really.
Oh. Does it really hurts?
Sorry, that was too brutal.
But I love them Taurus daddies, though, you guys.
They're gonna be good.
They're pretty set in their daddy ways, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I will just want to say, I think our next one is going to be on March 21st, and that's Gemini 3rd house, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you are watching today, you can find Elle on Copper Market Astrology on Instagram and Facebook, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
And our next event will be on March 6th, and it's Esoteric Magic and the Occult Studies with Jorge, and that's in English and then in Spanish. It's exciting.
Do the Spanish version.
See.
It's a great way to learn. And then we've got light language. Oh, well, we've got another magic and esoteric magic on March 20th, and we're going through the Thought Tarot deck, like really detailed, so it's going to be super exciting. And then on March 22nd, we're doing a light language activation with Madison, and that is going to be a soul chakra activation.
You are busy.
Say what?
You are busy. I think
my schedule is like every single day. There's literally, I think the only day I have off to myself is the 5th.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go out. Get a drink.
I would expect nothing less of a Capricorn, to be honest. But
yeah, no, this is all about sharing knowledge and doing what we can. So this is a passion project, and that fills my cup for the most part. Not the wallet, but the cup.
The cup is full. The wallet will come at some point.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. But this is always fun, and it's always a pleasure. And thank you for your time and your infinite astrology wisdom and all the good times. And Sydney, it was so nice to meet you. And thank you for joining us and asking questions. And I hope to see you on more of these, please.
Maybe on your end. She's Salt Lake.
Maybe.
Yeah, come back over here.
Yes, I will.
She's gonna show up at your house and be like, "I'm here for the live."
I got snacks and drinks.
Oh,
and a fireplace.
And it's once a month.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not too bad.
Not very helpful, but I'll ask all the questions you're asking.
Yeah,
that's helpful.
Send Sydney your questions and she'll ask them on the line.
Please, absolutely.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching and everyone who participated. We will hopefully see you for the next ones.
Yeah.
Bye.